In this edition of Higher Ed Highlights, we celebrate Black History Month by spotlighting more of the exceptional accomplishments of African Americans with ties to Ohio's colleges and universities. A Cincinnati civil rights pioneer, Marion Spencer graduated from the University of Cincinnati in 1942 with a degree in English literature. While at UC, she and her husband, Donald Spencer, whom she married in 1940, led significant efforts for integration and equality on campus, including a campaign for the college prom to be open to all students. The granddaughter of a former slave, Marion led a desegregation effort at Cincinnati's Coney Island Amusement Park in 1952. Her activism work would continue throughout her life and included playing a key role in actions to desegregate the Cincinnati public schools. She became the first female president of the Cincinnati NAACP chapter in 1981, and in 1983 was the first African-American woman elected to Cincinnati City Council. A recipient of numerous accolades for her dedication to civil rights, Marion Spencer died in 2019 at the age of 99. Basketball historians may know Kevin Edwards as the second ever draft pick in Miami Heat history. But before his 11-year NBA career began in 1988, Edwards took to the court at Lakeland Community College in Kirtland. There, he turned heads by averaging 24 points per game and leading Lakeland to the Ohio Junior College Championship. His performance led to scholarships from other schools, and he eventually transferred to DePaul University. Upon entering the NBA draft, Edwards was selected by the Heat with the 20th overall pick. He spent his 11 NBA seasons playing for the Heat, the New Jersey Nets, Orlando Magic, and Vancouver Grizzlies, scoring a total of 6,596 points in 604 games. Today, Edwards serves as the Director of Community, Corporate, and Professional Relations for the DePaul men's basketball team. Poet and activist Mari Evans, who enrolled at the University of Toledo in 1939, would become known as one of the leading voices in the Black Arts Movement, an effort to explore African American culture and history through the arts and literature. Born in Toledo, Evans moved to Indianapolis and gained notoriety as a writer and poet in the 1960s and 70s. She began a series of teaching appointments at American universities in the late 60s, eventually serving as a writer-in-residence and assistant professor at Indiana University. From 1968 to 1973, Evans produced, wrote, and directed The Black Experience, a weekly television show in Indianapolis. Her most renowned collection of poetry, I Am a Black Woman, was published in 1970 and brought her international attention. She also wrote short fiction and children's books and was an activist for prison reform. Evans died in 2017 at the age of 97. Jeff Pugaze began his illustrious broadcasting career at Miami University, sitting behind the desk as a co-anchor of MUTV's Miami Weekly News. He graduated from Miami in 1992 and embarked on a career that has led to his current role as the Chief National Affairs and Justice Correspondent for CBS News. Pugaze worked for TV stations in Baltimore, Maryland, and Miami, Florida, before beginning a nearly 10-year stint at WABC in New York, where he won Emmy Awards and covered Hurricane Sandy and both the Republican and Democratic national conventions. Since joining CBS News, he had led the network's coverage for some of the biggest stories of the past decade. He's also written 2 books, one examining the divide between police and the black community, and the other investigating Russian interference in the 2016 election. In 2020, Pugaze was named to the Miami University Board of Trustees. Before he became known as a trailblazing filmmaker, writer, and performer, Melvin Van Peebles was an English major in the Ohio Wesleyan University class of 1953. Less than 2 weeks after his graduation from Ohio Wesleyan, Van Peebles joined the U.S. Air Force and served for more than 3 years. The challenge of trying to become a filmmaker in the early days of the civil rights movement took Van Peebles to France, where he found some success as an author before making French films. His first American-made film was the 1970 satire Watermelon Man, but it's his 1971 film, Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, for which he's best known. During his career, Van Peebles wrote novels, plays, and many musicals, and his Distinguished Achievement citation from Ohio Wesleyan is just one of his numerous awards. OWU will host its inaugural Melvin Van Peebles Symposium on March 31st and April 1st, an event that will celebrate his life and legacy while recognizing emerging artists aspiring to follow in his footsteps. Van Peebles died in 2021 at the age of 89. Look for Higher Ed highlights on the Ohio Department of Higher Education's YouTube page and through our Facebook page and Twitter feed, and check out our website at highered.ohio.gov. Thank you for watching, and come back next week for another round of Higher Ed highlights.